Welcome to the Healthy Perspective Podcast with your host, chiropractor, entrepreneur, mentor, and author, Dr. Chris Bowman. He'll break down and extract the secret sauce behind his own success and the success of some of the top leaders in every category and from around the world. Get ready for your weekly mental adjustment because shift is going to happen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Healthy Perspective Podcast. Today is going to be a fire episode for you chiropractors, you entrepreneurs, people interested in health, people interested in just a different way of living, a different way of thinking. Today, we have Dr. Jason Helfrich, CEO and co-founder of 100% Chiropractic, in which he has 90 locations and 170 other franchises sold. He's co-owner and founder of Chiro HC, a passionate entrepreneur and father of three. I've been hunting him down for a couple months now, trying to get him on the podcast, mainly because it's a selfish conversation that I want to have. I want to grow. And so I figured we may as well share the conversation with the world. So Dr. Jason, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, good morning. Thank you for hunting me down. I'm glad that we finally made it work. And I'm excited. I like I said before we went on the air here, I love talking about, what I love, and it's easy to have that conversation. So I'm happy to be here and I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course. Well, why don't we just get your story, started from the beginning? Did chiropractic call you? Did you grow up in a chiropractic family? What made you choose kind of chiropractic as a profession from the get-go?
Kind of the happy medium. I actually married into a chiropractic family. And so, my wife, Vanessa, and we were in the restaurant business actually out of undergrad in Denver, Colorado. And as entrepreneurs, we're able to work through the system and run certain chains and eventually opened our own restaurant in downtown Denver at a very young age. I think she was 20 and I was 23 or something along those lines. We loved it. It wasn't what we wanted to do forever, so her family was chiropractors. We saw the lifestyle they lived. We were certainly advocates of chiropractic and were adjusted and all of that, just had never thought like maybe we should do that. And had one day just kind of decided, after working till 2 a.m., serving all our friends and coming back and doing it again. And this isn't what we want to do our whole life. We need to have a little higher sense of purpose. I want to feel really good when I lay my head on my pillow at night. What do you think about us moving? At the time it was Davenport, Iowa. And so we said, let's do it. And I was going to put her through school. I was going to go out and get a job running a restaurant out there. Of course, I got into the culture. At the time, Guy Riekeman was there and just the philosophy was just powerful. And so I said, you know what, let's borrow the money. Let's both go through. And one of the best decisions, minus my wife and my kids, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
Amazing. And I love that about our profession where it's not just a paycheck, the paycheck is very small compared to the amount of fulfillment, and purpose that we get from what we do. I'm sure you have plenty more stories than me having been in the profession much longer, but those babies that, didn't have a chance, that were, most likely going to be SIDS babies or moms depressed or kids not talking become talking again. It's an absolutely amazing profession and the things that we really just take for granted. We talk to medical doctors about what we do and they're just like, there's no way that's true. Like, because they work so hard to get such a minuscule amount of improvement. And here we are doing one or two adjustments and getting life-changing results. So you came into chiropractic school with entrepreneurial experience, with the entrepreneurial worldview. How many of your fellow colleagues would you say shared that same background?
I don't think many. I think some have been exposed to it through family or through a practice that they'd worked at, and others had different level jobs. But a lot of people, the truth is, I know this because my son is at chiropractic school now. I have two sons at chiropractic school.
That's awesome.
Some people just come from undergrad and go right into school. And so, however, my sons have worked in the company a little bit and have some entrepreneurial skills and things like that. But for the most part, I think that's the typical path. As you go to undergrad, then you go to grad school, and then you're kicked out. There's security in school. It's hard as hell for sure, but you do know that if you jump through this hoop, you move to the next step, right? And so you'll get your loan check, you'll get to move on to the next quarter or trimester. So you control. Business much different. You can do all the right stuff and not be rewarded. You can be better than the guy next door and he does better than you. And so, business is a little more dynamic, a little tougher to figure out than maybe school. So I think some people struggle with that a bit, and they don't really understand the best way. Chiropractic is business. And I like I said, I was in restaurant business. It's not that different than chiropractic. It's not that different than dentistry or other things. Philosophically, right, light years away.
Sure.
But the business, core business principles about charging for what you do, having people come in, how do you acquire these people, how do you sign them up and keep them, is a fairly simple process, but one that very few people can figure out at a high level. I think Vanessa and I have been very good at that, and we've been very blessed to surround ourselves with some seriously talented people. And yeah, I mean, I pinch myself every day because I love what I do. I love my profession. I miss adjusting patients, but I look at the numbers we see as a company, so as opposed to, when I was practicing, I don't know, saw about 140 a day or something. Like, it was a good, solid practice. And it was hard to leave that because of what you said, the impact and the hugs you got from patients, and you did this for me, and you did this, you helped my kids and my husband and all this. But then I start to look at how many people, now we multiply that times 83 open practices, seeing 100 plus a day. You start to realize 10 new patients per practice per day. You start to be like, wow, I mean, we're making a massive impact. We have 800 people coming in per day that are being exposed to subluxation, philosophical-based chiropractic care, and really introduced to what it can do to unlock their health. And I take pride in that for sure.
Absolutely phenomenal. Was your vision to always start a franchise, or did you think this is what you were going to do?
No, I think that our vision was always to have multiple locations. It's why we came up with a name like 100% Chiropractic, as opposed to maybe Helfrich Family Chiropractic.
Yes.
I don't think I ever envisioned what we've done so far or where this is going. I did envision that we would have multiple locations. I knew that someday I would want to be able to coach my boys and live my dream life and not be locked into a practice all the time. So we knew a little bit of it. If I would have told you I knew we'd have 170 practices on the way, I would have been lying to you.
Which is, it's astonishing thinking of that number. I mean, because the joint's been around for a long time, and you guys are probably getting pretty similar in numbers as far as how many franchises. So to start up and then to have this many sold, how do you get the word out? How did you go about designing this franchise system?
Well, it's very congruent with running a practice. I mean, a lot of times you get the word out because you make people happy when they're part of your program, right? So happy patients refer patients. And so happy franchisees refer other doctors and now non-doctors to come in and own that. We're not that close to the joint, full disclosure. They're about 700 locations.
Oh, okay.
So they're still the big fish. We grow at about the same rate they do.
That's amazing.
Number of practices per year right now, but I mean, we got some work to do. Our goal is absolutely to be number one in the profession.
Of course.
The Joint has done some great things, right?
Yeah.
We all may agree or disagree with how they deliver chiropractic.
Sure.
But that being said, they made chiropractic accessible to people. And so they brought in some of the philosophy of business that, hey, here's some hours that are very based upon the consumer, not the doctor.
Right.
And here's a location that's very convenient because it's next to your dry cleaners and your nail place and the grocery store. And those are more expensive and whatnot, but those are why people can find them. So they did a great job at that, So I think that we see what they did well. We do things much different. I mean, we x-ray our patients, we do corrective-based care, we have a full line of nutrition. We empower what we call empowerment session, which is kind of a report of findings that educates people on what's best for them. So I think we deliver chiropractic a little bit differently than they do. Right. But that being said, I mean, there's certainly, when people think of who's your biggest competition, that would come to mind. And so I appreciate what they've done, but at the same time, I know there's a lot of area for improvement. I'll say that.
Yeah. And I think that was just an eye-opener for a lot of us that, have pretty successful single run practices. And then you look at this person that's like, oh, they have a practice there. They have a practice there. They have a practice, because what we grew up with the Sigafus practices or the Gonstead practices where they're building runways and hotels and, there's a big one facility, but they have multiple satellites all around. I mean, that was kind of revolutionary. So you're right. I mean, what they've done to get the word out about chiropractic, because somebody can see an advertisement for the joint and not necessarily choose them for their chiropractic care. So the amount of people that they probably referred to get chiropractic care is amazing. And then for people like you, where it's like, man, it's possible to have this franchise where it's multiple, offices across the, across the country. We talked a little bit about before, the training in chiropractic school is mainly focused on making you legal, making you safe, which are obviously very important things, but there's not a lot of intention surrounding making sure that the business side of the chiropractic office is successful. Why don't you give your thoughts a little bit coming from an entrepreneurial background? Because I think I'll never forget this. My first day orientation, they probably did the same at Davenport. Our first day, there's, hundreds of kids in the biggest, lecture hall or whatever. I say kids, there's adults and whatnot too, but I was a kid.
Right.
And they said, look to your left, look to your right, 50% won't make it through. And I'm like, okay, well, I know that's not going to be me. And they said, of that, 30% won't pass boards. And of that, 25% may still be in business 5 years down the line. And so I'm like trying to do the math in my head. And I think it's come out to be true. I mean, I talked to only a few of my colleagues that are currently doing well in practice. The rest of them may work for franchises or are doing something different. So they recognize that there's a problem with chiropractors staying successful. I think they maybe blame the person, which might be there or not. But what would you do if someone said, Dr. Jason, we want you to change the school system, and tell us what we need to do to fix this issue of chiropractors not being successful? Outside of, obviously, we need to bring philosophy back. Technique, needs to be a little bit stronger, and kids need to be confident in the product that they're selling. But from a business perspective, what type of things do you think would be most important?
Lots to unpack there. So I would say, to go back to even your previous point, because it struck something I wanted to say, but I mean, we as a profession still need to continue to realize that we pretty much serve about 10% of the people. Yeah. Right. And so the people that choose to fight over those 10% have the wrong mindset. Yeah. And so until we can reach people that aren't in clinics, until a mom thinks chiropractic when her son has an ear infection, or when a couple can't have a baby, how do we get them thinking we need to go get adjusted and try that? Until we reach those 90% of the people, we're not focused on the bigger picture, right? We've got to get majority of the population turning to chiropractic as opposed to fighting over the 10%. Yeah. Our profession focuses on that so much. We've long circled the wagons and shot inward and try to bash people that are 99% congruent with us in a lot of different ways. And so I think that mindset changes the way you go about things, right? You don't go after someone else's patients. You go after all these patients. I'm looking at a busy highway right now outside my office, and it's just, there's thousands of people every hour that drive by. That's who you need to focus on. My thought process and on the education is going to be a little probably old school. I think that schools get a bad rap for not preparing people education-wise. Yeah. 50% of small businesses don't make it. Right. And so whether it's a restaurant or whatever it is, it's tough to be in small business. It's tough to maintain the overhead and the hiring and all the things associated with that. It's easy to put blame. Our society likes to blame people. Yeah. That's so-and-so's fault that I couldn't make it. But other people have the same profession, right? Do the same thing and are making millions. Yeah. So why is that, right? They seem happy. They're very content with what they're doing. They feel good about themselves. And so it's just, they also have kids and a family. They go through problems just like everyone else does. So I think, yes, schools could certainly get better, right? I think one of the problems with schools is a lot of times people go back and teach that didn't do. And sometimes that's very tough. But schools have gotten better about, I go to Life University and speak a decent amount and things like that. And so they're getting really good at bringing people that are doers out into the school and sharing some stuff with people. Now, that being said, even when I talk, there's people that sit there and just are enthralled with what I'm saying. There's people that come and sign the sheet and then walk out. Right. And so I get it. Right. I was there. I remember being a student. That's up to them. But then don't graduate and badmouth the school for not preparing you for going out and doing things. Because when you open a business, you got to be a hustler, man. It doesn't matter how good of a adjuster you are or not. If people don't come see you, doesn't matter. So you have to do everything in your power to prepare yourself to be ready financially, mentally. It's going to knock you down thousands of times. Every adage you realize, ooh, that's true. Right. The more you get knocked down, the more you have to get up, and you'll cry yourself to sleep at night. All that's true. We've all been there as entrepreneurs. Yeah. So I think it's less about the school. I think the school does what they can. Their job is to prepare you to get that license. Yeah. That's the main focus they have. Yeah. Then it's your job as a doctor and an entrepreneur, if that's the route you want to go, to prepare yourself. It's good. You try to kind of cross that. So, most chiropractors wear 800 hats to try to save overhead. And they're like, I'll be the marketer and the front desk person and the programmer and IT and the so and it doesn't work. They do everything half-ass, and so therefore they have a half-ass practice. When you take a lot of that off and allow the doctor to take care of patients, to inspire patients and inspire the staff, our franchise takes care of the rest. Is there a fee associated with it? There is, right? We do tremendously well. However, that being said, our doctors are in the top 1% of earners in what they make. We have $1 million practices all across the country because they are able to practice what they love. We give them the chance to expand that. And so we have many doctors that have 6, 7, 8 practices in their first 5 years of practice. They're talking retirement in their young 30s and stepping back and just enjoying the journey. So, I think that people want to badmouth the school. School has some ownership. They probably should do, maybe a little better job here or there. That being said, there's a lot of things that are easy to blame. It comes down to getting your own ass off the couch per se, and learning, read, podcast, ask people. And when you do that and listen to podcasts like this and go through the process, it's never easy, but you can do it. And that's what separates that 10% that achieve an extremely high level from the 50% that close their doors and go change professions with $250,000 in loans.
That's such a good answer. And I think that's so right. I mean, that's the paradigm that needs to be shifted. We ask our patients to, stop thinking in that medical mindset and ask the reason why the symptoms are there instead of just treating the symptoms. And I think a lot of we get in our own heads in the same way. It's like school, this. And it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? Like, that was all in the past, either volunteer at the schools to make a difference in other kids' lives, or find out other people like yourself that are running successful businesses, franchises. And I think a lot of the times, and I experience this with my patients, I tell them, like, I can't be your everything. Like, I'm going to be your chiropractor, but my job is to expose you to the world of holistic health. And we can get you set up with a nature path, with a homeopath, with a physical therapist, with an integrative, pediatrician, or, whatever it is. Questions are people they might never have thought up before because they weren't asking the right questions. Instead of asking, hey, I have inflammation, what can I just take ibuprofen to make that go away? But like, what's causing your inflammation? Now they're saying, who can help me with my sugar addiction, or who can help me with, blah, blah, blah. What are the right questions that either chiropractic students or struggling chiropractors need to ask in order to start to level up their entrepreneur skill set?
I think I love that you use the term "what questions," because we have constant dialogue going on in our head every single day. And we ask ourselves negative questions that give ourselves no chance to give a good answer, right? So people ask questions like, why does my practice suck? Why can't I make any money? Why can't I lose weight? Why can't I grow my practice? Well, then your brain is coming up with justification for why you're not achieving what you want to do, right? Versus when you switch your paradigm, even with your own internal dialogue of, what are 3 things I could do this week, right, to grow my practice 10% next month? What are other people doing that I'm not, which is why they're outdoing me right now? And so out of questions like that come answers. Right. And so when you get those answers, you start to realize, oh, I see what they're doing. Now, they may have a better coaching group. They may be part of 100%. They may tell people the truth at a higher level. They may be a better adjuster than you. I don't know what the answer is, but all of those are answers that you can fix and address on your own. So people got to stop asking the why me, woe is me. It's our society, right? Like, I wasn't taught this, and I don't know this, and this, my location isn't good, and my state doesn't support me, and all this type of stuff. COVID was never a better example of that, because I think personally, we doubled in size during COVID. I think that I've never seen the consumer asking better questions right now, because they question vaccines more than ever. They question, what can I do to make myself and my family extremely healthy? When people are asking questions like that, that's what we've been trying to get them asking for decades.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, enter chiropractic. Let me show you some ways to boost your immune system through nutrition, through exercise, through stress relief, through chiropractic adjustments, right? To your answer, why is inflammation? Well, let's go back to what inflammation is, right? Inflammation is the body's natural ability to heal something. It's beautiful. Thank God your body has inflammation, because that's what's happening. So let's understand why that is. Let's understand why you have a fever. Let's understand and listen to your body And it changes the way people go about stuff to realize like, oh, you know what? I don't necessarily want to get rid of that inflammation. That's exactly what my body needs right now. So, you know, I think that it's a delicate dance to take people, meet them where they are, and then continue that progression. But you get them asking the right questions of their doctor. In my world, we're talking entrepreneur. So I get this struggling doctor asking the right questions of how can I be better? Why is my practice not where it wants to be? You know, and I see all the time breakthroughs. It's just light bulb moments that you see in patients that I used to see in patients. I now see that in doctors of chiropractic, thinking like, oh my God. And people that couldn't make it are now doing, you know, $2 million a year in practice. And it's extraordinary to see that breakthrough when people have that aha moment, and they enjoy the process more because they're telling people what they need to hear, not what they think they want to hear.
Right. And it's so paradoxical. You know, I'm going to send you a copy of my book as a thank you for jumping on. But it's like, I wrote this whole book on perspective, but it could have been like 2 sentences long. Life is not about you. It's about what you can do for others. And it's so weird because we just want to build up. We want to hoard. We feel like the more we're able to get our hands on, the better we'll be able to equip. Like, once I have this, then I can go do that. Once I have enough, then I can go, I'll give, you know, 100,000 once I have 1 million, or, you know, whatever it is. But it's like, if you're not already in that mindset of, I'm going to give what I have now, I'm going to provide value with what I have now, think of how tightly you're going to grip the stuff that you work so hard to get. And so it's like you said, it's a mindset, it's a way of life, it's a paradigm. With health, it's like, it's not even what do I need to take to make myself better. It's like, what do I need to give myself that it can use to build up health? What instead of what do I need to take away, and what do I need to avoid? You know, what things are vibrant and bring life into me? And so I love that chiropractic is such a natural segue into like just that's just a great way to live life in general, you know, not just with your health. And it's so sad that chiropractors with this potential, this opportunist way of life, this natural rhythm of teaching health and wellness and the abundance mindset, get so stuck in this mindset of, I don't have enough, I don't have what I need. It's like, you can literally go to any place, any country, someone can lay down on the floor and you can change their life in an instant. Like, that's an amazing opportunity, you know? So I look forward to continue, you know,
It's a great statement. Yeah, it's a great statement. I mean, I think very few people get to live their purpose out and make a tremendous income from that. Right. And so many people there's people that make a ton of money that hate their job. There's people that love their job that can't even support their family. Chiropractors have a chance. Like, I love what I do. It's a philosophy of life, right? It's how I run my life. It's how I treat my kids. It's how I raised my kids. It's how, so it's such an incredible opportunity to love what you do at a high level. And then I think you have to be okay with accepting that abundance that comes your way. And chiropractors have a big block with this. The thing is, they think abundance is about money, right? Money is important. Money gives you opportunities. Money buys experiences. Happiness is experiences, right? So, I mean, happiness isn't money. Having a ton of money in the account means zero to you. But having a ton of money in the account so you can do cool things. I take off next week with my wife and my kids. We're going on a dream vacation to Greece, right? And so we do stuff like that all the time. That's an experience. We've worked our ass off to be very successful, so we can do really cool things like that are memories we make that we'll never forget. That to me is what life's all about. Abundance allows you to do that type of stuff. It allows you to have an amazing clinic that people have access to. It allows you to have the latest research and development and tools in your practice to take the best care of your patients. So people have got to stop blocking abundance as negative, right? And we've got to open ourselves up to like, you know what? Yeah, it's great. Whether you buy a Lamborghini or you donate to your church, doesn't matter. You just got to have that abundance, because if you can't keep your doors open, it doesn't matter how good you are. And so we try to get that mindset into chiropractors of be ready for the success, because it's coming your way. Very few people can see 150 patients a day, right? And a doctorate level education. I don't know how people mess it up, to be honest, sometimes. And so it's hard to deal with a lot of chiropractors. Their mindset's just so poor. So, you know, I think we have a lot of work to do with chiropractors. We have a lot of work to do with patients, right? But I think the tide is turning. I've never felt people question the norm of what the MD says more than I do right now. And people watch, you know, Fauci come on TV and they laugh. because they're like, you're kidding me. He's had COVID, 3-4 times, and he's been vaccinated more than. So I think people are starting to ask those questions. And I think that's a beautiful thing for all of us.
I agree. I don't know about your practices or if you're able to hear this not being in the practice, but I've never seen more medical professionals, nurses, NPs, PAs, doctors in my practice now. It's, the pre-COVID, a couple, but now we're seeing more and more and more. And maybe it's because they're overworked and tired and just, have no other option. But I think people are starting to get, it's like, let's see what they're saying. Let's see what they're saying is different, because what we're doing is not working. I'm seeing the same person over and over again. They're never happy. I'm never happy. There's got to be a different fix to the system.
Yeah. I mean, we had some amazing nurses and MDs in my practice, and we still do in all the practices. But, I think that we as a profession, we should work together more with MDs and nurses and things, because there's a lot of, what matters is the patient, right? What matters is the patient achieves their goal. Right. Not philosophically that they do this, just like it doesn't matter if it's a Gonstead adjustment or a Thompson adjustment, right? It's that the patient receives the adjustment that they need. And you as a chiropractor should be able to decide that. Working with medical professionals is essential. Thank God they're there. They my wife went through cancer. They helped save her life. I'm certain of that, right? And the miracles they perform every day are amazing. I think what we all have a problem with is this for-profit bullshit pharmaceutica, right? That runs healthcare. They legislate, they run it, they get all these people addicted to these meds, and they have not the patient's best interest in mind. And I think whether you're an MD or you're a DC or you're a nurse or whatever, you realize that. And so, I think that they're fantastic people. I think they're starting to realize what a great portal of entry chiropractic is. Why not try something with no risk, no side effect? Right, that'll help them achieve results and help the patient achieve results, most importantly. So you're absolutely right. Some of those people are fantastic and are great patients and great advocates for our profession.
I love it. I'm doing a talk tomorrow at a conference that we're putting on, and I'm trying to help people understand the paradigm shift that I'm introducing, where it's not about preventing disease as much as investing in the process to build health. And is that I want them to close your eyes, and I want you to picture this headline: new mandate requires medical doctors to go through a year, of nutrition or alternative therapy classes. Imagine just them being exposed to what's out there could change the flow of medicine, change the flow of people's care and dependence on the system. That's ultimately where it's at. It's like, sure, go get what you need to get better, but don't depend on them as your lifestyle. And I think these are the things that are going to start to change. I think medical doctors are, and nurses and NPs and PAs are wanting more than just what they were taught in school. Just like we do, we go to, listen to podcasts and business school and, all of that stuff. I think there's this trend of like, I want to know more than what's out there, because I don't feel 100% okay with this, what they're telling me to tell people, So I think we are poised to capitalize, not financially, but just on the opportunity to introduce this paradigm that we live in. And so I'm thankful for people like you that are living loud, that are making a difference, that are equipping chiropractors right out of school to be successful, rather than going through the burnout or paying ignorance tax of hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost revenue, or getting burnt out or taken advantage of. Why don't you just give us a little bit more information about what is 100% Chiropractic, your coaching programs, where people can get a hold of you and things like that?
Yeah. Again, quick answer to what you just said too, and then I'll jump to that. But I think that medicine is a byproduct of what patients demand. And so the next close your eyes moment for people is to realize, what if all students had to learn how to eat, how their body responds to nutrition, why nutrition, what inflammation is, so if they had to learn, health was like one class. And I barely had any of it growing up. Right. They'll make you read a book that may or may not be important, right? I'm not here to discuss that, but I don't think that's as important as understanding how to live your best life and what obesity takes a toll on your body and things like that. If we taught people that, then they would demand health. They would demand natural nutrition adjustments. And so I think that so many people now just want a quick fix because they've been taught that, and they just want a pill. Give me a pill, give me a potion, give me this. And so I think we also have to get to the consumer, and we're not right immediately anyway, going to change the educational system. So we have to reach the masses, and internet and things like that have made the playing field much more level.
Absolutely.
Because we could never spend hundreds of millions on advertising campaigns like we see pharmaceutical companies do. But you know what? We can certainly get the word out, and we dominate the social media waves and in our group. So 100% Chiropractic is a franchise. We have people that doctors that own their practice. We help them start to finish, whether we fund it and put them in the practice and do a turnkey location for them, or they come in and they fund it themselves. So there's a lot of different opportunities to do that. We also have a lot of people that are seeing what we do financially, that are non-doctors, that are saying, hey, I want to open 10, I want to open 5. Wow. They, as the financial side of it, see the success. And so we also have a tremendous need for doctors coming in to be paid a fantastic salary with an opportunity to own their practice down the road and build their career and things like that. So it's a philosophical group of subluxation-based chiropractors that are out there to not only live their best life and be successful, but to change the paradigm of healthcare in this country. Yeah. And we have fun together. We are a good group. We get together 4 times a year at what we call Tribe, and we celebrate, and we build, and we train, and we, we're working on ourselves. We're building our practices, designing our lives is what we say. So they can, check it out. There's 100% franchise, 100% chiropractic, both.com, which will show you the patient facing side and the doctor facing side. I have a podcast called The Entrepreneurial Juggernaut, where we talk a little bit about business and things like that. You mentioned a little bit, I have a software company called Chiro HD, which the demand for that right now, we can barely keep up with, which is incredible. And so that's fantastic. I think 100% Chiropractic is a great way for you to open a practice, or to open a variety of practices. We have some docs that have even been successful that say, I want to back out. I want to open 5 with you guys so I can start to work 3 days a week, work 2 days a week, maybe be off to spend time with my kids and stuff. So I'm amazed by how many doctors want to replicate what Vanessa and I have done, which is they love patients. They love adjusting it. They believe in it. They just don't want to not be able to leave their practice to watch it tank because they do a family vacation. Yep. Right. And so teaching people how to do that is essential. So we're happy to jump on the phone with anybody, talk to any chiropractor about what we offer and what that looks like, and just send them some information. But those are the best ways to reach out and find us.
That's awesome. I'm proud of you. It's amazing to see, what you've been able to do, and you see a need and you fill it and you do something about it, and you're equipping lots and lots of people. And what's cool for me to think is your legacy is going to live far beyond, your years and maybe even your kids' practice years. 100% chiropractic, all these things are going to be going far beyond, what we'll be able to live. And it's cool to see you set a vision and then cast it out far beyond, what we can accomplish. And it's going to be cool to see what happens in the next few years with you guys.
It's an amazing journey. We're very, very blessed right now, and we love what we do. And, I'm excited every Monday to come into the office. I love it. It's incredible. But yeah, I'm living my best life, and I do it because I believe in what I do. I love what I do. And I just couldn't be happier with the journey and then the life that we've created for ourselves.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to people listening to this episode, and we'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Perspective Podcast. To connect with Dr. Bowman, follow him on Instagram @Dr. Chris Bowman. Until next time, make shift happen.